The 24th century new physics has uncovered some brilliant insights into what reality is, and indeed, if it really even exists at all in an objective sense. In the last 300 years, unbelievable leaps in the understanding of hyperdimensional physics has given humans a glimpse into a much deeper, and more real, reality than the mere four-dimensional space-time continuum in which we exist. That which was believed back in the 21st century to be the entire universe, beyond which there was nothing at all. Now, it is known that there is a strange hyperdimensional realm beyond anything we can imagine, which seems to be projecting this reality, a sort of dream reality where everything changes with the illusional flow of time. New technologies have been developed to probe into this strange reality, and even bizarre multidimensional objects have been detected which are seemingly projecting this reality in which we live. It has now become possible to cryogenically freeze, and then, reanimate humans after days, weeks, even months. Researchers have started a new project to use this technology with human volunteers who want to explore what the afterlife is, and come back and relate what they have found. Much to everyone's surprise, what was found turned out to be more terrifying and horrific than any of them could have imagined. Now, this is where our story begins. The research facility stood as a monument to human curiosity, a gleaming fortress of glass and quantum-reinforced alloys perched on the edge of the Atacama Desert, far from the overcrowded megalopolises that dominated the planet in the year 2336. Dr. Gabriel Rodriguez had spent his entire career challenging the fundamental assumptions of human perception, his work regarded by some as brilliant theoretical exploration and by others as the ravings of a scientific visionary. The Psychonaut program represented the culmination of decades of research into consciousness, hyperdimensional theory, and the increasingly blurred lines between technological exploration and metaphysical investigation. Gabriel had dedicated his life to understanding the fundamental nature of reality, driven by a personal tragedy that haunted him since childhood: the mysterious disappearance of his twin sister, Lucia, during a quantum research experiment decades earlier. The circumstances of her vanishing had been bizarre and inexplicable. One moment she was conducting a breakthrough experiment in hyperdimensional mapping, the next she had simply ceased to exist, no trace, no evidence, nothing but a series of fragmented quantum readings that defied all scientific explanation. Quantum computing had long since revealed that reality was far more malleable than previous generations could have imagined, with consciousness itself emerging as a complex phenomenon that defied traditional understanding. The cryogenic chambers represented the latest evolution in human experimental technology devices capable of suspending biological functions with such precision that neural pathways could be preserved indefinitely, creating a bridge between life and whatever might exist beyond the narrow confines of human perception. Elena Vasquez, the lead psychonaut, had volunteered without hesitation, her personal history of metaphysical exploration making her the perfect candidate for this groundbreaking experiment. Gabriel watched her preparation with a mixture of scientific detachment and a deeply personal intensity that spoke to years of research and unresolved personal loss. The facility's neural tracking systems represented humanity's most advanced attempt to map consciousness itself, to trace its trajectory through dimensional spaces that existed beyond the traditional understanding of space and time. Quantum entanglement sensors had been developed specifically for this project, capable of detecting minute variations in consciousness that previous technologies would have missed entirely. Around them, a team of 20 researchers and technicians moved with surgical precision, each step calculated, each movement designed to minimize any potential disruption to the delicate process about to unfold. Elena's body was a study in scientific preparation: electrodes carefully placed, neural interface points meticulously mapped, her entire physical form transformed into a living instrument of exploration. Advanced nanosensors would track every microscopic change in her neural pathways, creating a comprehensive map of consciousness that promised to revolutionize humanity's understanding of perception itself. The cryogenic chamber itself was a marvel of engineering, its interior a complex network of liquid nitrogen conduits and quantum-stabilized cooling systems that could reduce body temperature to within a fraction of a degree above absolute zero while maintaining the intricate neural networks of the human brain. Its design was based on fragments of research left behind by Lucia. Theories so advanced they had seemed like pure fantasy when Gabriel first discovered them in his abandoned research journals. Gabriel's fingers moved across holographic interfaces, triple-checking every parameter, his dark eyes reflecting years of research and an almost mystical determination to uncover the secrets that had consumed his entire professional life. The memory of Lucia haunted every aspect of his work, her brilliant mind, her fearless approach to scientific exploration, the way she had always believed that reality was nothing more than a complex illusion waiting to be unraveled. As the process began, a hushed silence fell over the research facility. Days would pass, 7 in total, during which Elena's consciousness would be in a state which was basically identical to death, existing in a liminal space that challenged every previous understanding of human experience. The quantum tracking systems pulsed with a soft blue light, their complex algorithms constantly monitoring microscopic changes that suggested something profound was occurring beyond the realm of traditional measurement. Gabriel thought constantly of Lucia during these days, her unexplained disappearance, the theories she had been exploring in the moments before she vanished, the quantum anomalies that had surrounded her final experiment. When the reanimation process began, it was with a meticulousness that bordered on ritual. Temperatures would rise incrementally, biological systems would be coaxed back into functionality, neural pathways would be carefully reconstructed. Elena's eyes flickered, first a subtle movement that sent a ripple of anticipation through the assembled researchers. Her pupils dilated and contracted with an unnatural precision, moving in ways that suggested she was perceiving something far beyond the clinical white walls of the research facility. "I saw it," she whispered, her voice a rasp that seemed to carry the weight of impossible knowledge. "I saw what lies beyond." Gabriel leaned closer, his hand instinctively reaching for the neural recording devices, ensuring every microscopic nuance of her experience would be captured. The devices were an amalgamation of technologies, some developed from Lucia's original research, some representing decades of subsequent scientific advancement. Elena's hands began to move, tracing invisible geometries in the air, her fingers describing shapes that seemed to exist simultaneously in multiple dimensions. She spoke of a realm that defied comprehension, a space where dimensionality itself was a fluid concept to be manipulated and experienced rather than a fixed constraint. The sky she described was not a sky as humans understood it, not blue in any conventional sense, but a pale luminescence that suggested the very fabric of perception itself. Suspended within this impossible landscape was a hypercube, a geometric form that existed simultaneously in states that human consciousness could only glimpse at the very edges of comprehension. The beings she described were not aliens in any traditional sense. They were something far more terrifying, humanoid figures with skin so pale it seemed to transmit light rather than reflect it, with eyes that burned a deep, toxic red. These eyes held no emotion, no warmth, just an eternal and infinite awareness that made human consciousness seem like a flickering candle against an endless night. "They create everything," Elena said, her voice breaking. "Our entire reality, everything we experience, every moment of joy, every experience of pain, it's nothing more than a projection. A dream world they generate to alleviate their own eternal boredom." Her description grew more fragmented, more terrible with each passing moment. The hyperspace realm was a place of such absolute hopelessness that its inhabitants had developed entire universes as a form of entertainment, a way to experience something approximating emotion through proxy. We were not real, we were avatars, projections, elaborate dreams designed to provide momentary relief from an existence so profound in its emptiness that it defied comprehension. Gabriel listened, his scientific objectivity warring with a growing sense of existential terror. Something in Elena's description resonated with fragmentary memories of Lucia's research, whispers and half-remembered conversations that suggested there was far more to reality than humanity had ever understood. As Elena spoke, Gabriel couldn't shake the feeling that she was describing exactly what had happened to his sister, that her mysterious disappearance might have been a result of encountering this impossible realm. "There is no time there," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "No death, no hope, no love, just an infinite, crushing awareness that consumes everything." The room grew cold, not from any mechanical process, but from a psychological chill that seemed to seep directly from Elena's words. The rounded white buildings she described were not structures in any way humans might understand. They were living geometric impossibilities that seemed to breathe, to pulse with a consciousness that was neither alive nor dead. When the debriefing concluded, Elena was changed. Her eyes had a distant, haunted quality, as though she was perpetually looking beyond the walls of the facility, seeing something no one else could perceive. "But you wanted to see, you wanted to know," one of the researchers said to Elena. "I know," she said, "but it turned out to be more horrible, more awful, than anything I could have imagined." Weeks later, when she was found dead having taken her own life with a precision that suggested careful planning, her suicide note contained only a few words: "Stop the project before it's too late." Gabriel was left with more questions than answers, the weight of impossible knowledge pressing down on him like an invisible burden. And perhaps, in the vast and incomprehensible spaces between dimensions, something was watching, waiting, observing, something that viewed our entire reality as nothing more than a momentary distraction, a fleeting dream generated to stave off the infinite boredom of existence beyond human comprehension. Everyone was mystified by what she really meant, but they went on with the experiment, with no afterthought as to what the consequences might be. Perhaps soon, they would find out, when it was too late.